This is a quick video to review circumference and area on circles. This video is not mandatory, it's just there if you need it as a reference while you're working through your work on circles. So we've got a couple formulas that we need to know. That was not what I wanted. That's all right. So we know that the area of a circle is equal to pi r squared. And we use pi. Cool. Thank you very much, Pen. Very helpful. We use 3.14 as pi. It would be, it's not letting me right off to the side is why. We use 3.14 for pi unless we're told otherwise. And a way that I remember that is that area is always measured in square units, like square inches, square miles, square kilometers. So I have to use the formula that we're squaring r. Circumference is linear, even though it curves. I could take that piece of string and straighten it out into one straight line. So I'm not going to square anything. I'm going to do 2 times pi times r. Or since I know that the radius can be doubled to get the diameter, I can just do pi times the diameter. And again, we're going to use 3.14 as our value for pi, unless otherwise stated. So here is our first circle. We've got this measurement here. It starts in the center and goes to the circumference. So that is a radius. It starts in the center and radiates out. Will it highlight? Yeah, it is a little bit. So let's plug it into our formula and see what we get. Our radius is 3. We know this because it just shows us this. Let's give it a unit, centimeters. And then our diameter starts at one side and goes all the way across. It cuts it in two. So we've got to double this value, and that gets 6 centimeters. And remember that circumference is equal to 2 times pi times radius. So I could do 2 times 3.14 times 3, or I could just do 3.14 times 6. Because when you double the radius, you get the diameter. So circumference is 18.84. And this is going to be approximate because we're using 3.14 as pi. And circumference is linear, so we call that centimeters. And to find the area, we would take our radius, and we're going to do pi times radius squared. So we're going to do pi, or 3.14, times 3 squared. And remember, squaring means you multiply that number by itself. So this actually means 3 times 3, which is 9. And we multiply it by 3.14. The area is 28.26. And so that's how we find the circumference and the area from the radius. Let's scroll down and work on diameter. So here we have a circle, and our line segment goes from circumference to circumference. It cuts my circle in two. Di means 2, so they're giving us the diameter. So that is 4.8 centimeters. Pardon my handwriting, it's pretty garbage. And in order to find the radius, I just need half of that. It'd be cool if my highlighter worked. Well, just pretend that highlighted, okay? There we go. We're getting something. So half of 4.8, well, I know half of 4 is 2, and half of 8 is 4. So I'm going to say that the radius is 2.4 centimeters. And to find my circumference, I plug it into my formula, 2 times pi times r, where my radius is 2.4. Or if I want to be lazy about it and punch fewer buttons in my calculator, I could say diameter times pi. So I could say 4.8 times pi. And we punch that into the calculator. Remember, we use 3.14 for pi, and we get we get 15.072. And that is, of course, measured in centimeters. So now it's time to find the area. And area is equal to pi r squared. We know the radius. They gave us the diameter, so we were able to find the radius. So it's pi times 2.4 squared. Remember, we want to use the smaller number here. Starts in the center and goes to the edge, radiates out. So order of operations says I do 2.4 squared first. When I square that, I get 5.76. Then I multiply that by pi, and I'm going to use 3.14. So my area is 18.0864. I'm going to round that to 18.1 centimeters squared. Oh gosh, that handwriting is pretty adorable. So let's say they give me, instead of giving me a circumference, or instead of giving me a radius or a diameter, they give me a circumference. And they're going to say that circumference is 43.96. So I'm going to write over here to signify, we're going to choose blue. Circumference equals 43.96 centimeters. I need to find out radius, diameter, and eventually area too. So I know that circumference is equal to 2 times pi times radius, right? That's just our formula. So I can figure out, we're going to combine like terms. What is 2 times pi? That's 3.14 times 2 is 6.28. So 6.28 times my radius will get me my circumference. Well, I know my circumference, it was given to me, is 43.96. So I need to get r by itself. I need to do inverse operations to get r by itself. What is the opposite of multiplying by 6.28? Dividing by 6.28. So we're going to divide by 6.28. So we punch that into our calculator. 43.96 divided by 6.28. And that gets us 7. That cancels to 1. This is 7. So our radius is 7. I'm going to write over here just to keep track of everything. And that's in centimeters. If our radius is 7, remember radius goes halfway across the circle. It starts in the center and goes out to the edge. To find the diameter, you just double it. The diameter goes all the way across and cuts the circle in two. So 7 times 2 is 14. And there's our diameter. Our last step is to find our area. Area is equal to pi r squared. Remember, that's just our formula. We just got to memorize it. We know our radius is 7. We just calculated that. So pi times 7 squared. I know 7 squared, our exponents go first, is 49. So we're going to say our area is pi times 49. You just punch that into your calculator. We get 153.86. Area equals 153.86. And that is area. That goes in 2 dimensions, right? Up, down, left, and right. So we're going to call it centimeters squared. All right, I hope that cleared some things up as you are working through your work on circles today.